I was talking to my 13-year-old son the other day, and we just moved him to a new school this year. So imagine the whole time this kid was in a class with 25 kids. When you're in that kind of social setting, the chances are there's a whole bunch of different types of kids. Some are spectacular, some are great achievers, and others are a little bit lower, right? And you'd expect that you'll have different types, but it's a lot of mediocre. So now, if you are in such a social setting, then the chances are you'll find yourself a right position. So maybe you won't be absolutely top of the class, but you won't be bottom either. And you probably won't be mediocre. He would probably make it to be, somewhere in the top region. So now we moved him to a different school. This is really a school of brilliant achievers. And there's 6 kids in the class. So in a class of 6 kids who are all there because they are high achievers, scholastic and academic achievers. And all these kids are present. And now what happens? Well, now a kid who used to be pretty high on top finds himself at the bottom of the class. Now, what do you tell your kid? When he comes over, he's busy learning, loves the learning. He's like so excited about the learning. It's mamish like it's so beautiful to watch. And he's just upset. And the other day he tells me, we're learning Gemara and we're learning Tosfos. I don't know that they were learning Tosfos before in 8th grade, but they're really learning and they're learning well. And he says, but I'm so dumb. Like, I'm always on the bottom. I'm always lost. I'm always the last one to get and to understand and to grasp. And he says, it's so frustrating. The other kids in class just sit there and the teacher explains and they get it. Like in no time at all. The most difficult, challenging concept these kids get. And me, I'm sitting there, I don't know what's flying. So I have to work double as hard. And then I pick up my hand and I say, I really didn't get it. And the rabbi looks, okay, explain to you again. And I feel like all the other kids are like eyeing me like, oh, there's the kid who's holding us back and doesn't understand. At the same time, he says, I love it that we're going so quick and we're running and we're doing material. But I don't know why. I'm just plain dumb. That's what the kid said. Now, I'm saying to the kid, well, you're plain dumb because you're in a school of excellent kids. So there's nothing so wrong about being the bottom of these excellent kids. Who says that's such a big problem? Well, but day in, day out in the daily grind, when you're in such a school, it isn't good to feel like you're always the last. And what I'm watching is that it kind of like this little thing can become very big. Because this kid, there's like a life. Ever seen? I was walking with a kid home from shul the other day, and I'm already way ahead. And I look back, where are you? And then I noticed, like, he taken in the snow, taken a piece of big ice, and he was throwing it up, and it was falling down all the time, and it was crashing, and he was like enjoying the scene. He's like throwing the ice and then crushing it and watching the ice crash. I'm so excited. And I watched the glory and the glee of youth. And I thought to myself, wow, I'm walking in the way. I'm thinking about all my issues. And this kid is just walking and all he's seeing is, wow, snow. It's so exciting. And then we were in the backyard the other day. He was in the backyard. I was wondering, I wanted to go to shul. I'm asking, where are you? And the other kids tell me he's in the backyard. So I went to see what's going on in the backyard. Well, we have a ski resort in the backyard. It's great because nobody shovels over there. And there's like a whole ski resort going on. It's just marvelous to see how exciting it is to be young, to be a youth. And it feels like somewhere the youth is being squashed and pelched out of a beautiful, fun-loving kid. And he loves learning. He loves learning. But I guess it's a tinge of jealousy. And I'm really concerned that this tinge of jealousy can grow. So I'm wondering, what should I tell him? So what do you think? I'm jealous of other kids who are able to grasp it so quickly. What do I do? I was thinking about telling him, hey, kiddo, that's life. Like, you can't always be on the top. Okay, why not be on the bottom? Well, sometimes they also just came. So, it's just the way it is. And sometimes you might be in the bottom, and it's fine. It's okay. And then I thought to myself, I'm not sure why, but that doesn't sound like it's going to convince him. Like, that's just the way it is. Get over it. Or, that if you work hard, at the end of the day, the guy who works hard, like, he understands it better. And I was trying to give an analogy. Imagine two guys are climbing up Mount Everest, and one takes a helicopter and the other one actually climbs. So he's like, yeah, but imagine two guys are climbing up Mount Everest and one guy is just a good climber. And so he just climbs up quickly without a problem, and he gets there and he has all the exact same experience as the other one. He just did it much quicker and much more efficient. Now what? He has I was trying to say about the helicopter, you don't have the experiences. Well, you have the exact same experiences. There's no difference. So what did you lose out by climbing Mount Everest the long way? Okay. Right? And I was wondering, what do I tell him? So that's the challenge. But I was thinking, something? Maybe before I can answer my kid as to what he should feel and how he should behave and how he should overcome this tinge of jealousy and envy to his friends, which may be a good thing. Kinas Seifim Tareh B'Chochmah, it says, being jealous of someone else can actually increase wisdom. But at the same time, I don't want him to fall because of it. What I was thinking was, before I think what I'm going to answer him, how about, what is the answer? Why is it that Hashem made it such that some people are brilliant and get it right away and excel, and other people just trudge behind, and it's so challenging and it's so difficult? And I was wondering, where in Torah can I find such a thing whereby, like, someone just was lagging behind someone else, and yet we can find a virtue in lagging behind, a virtue in being the underdog. And but actually it's okay, and you're actually pretty impressive, and you're pretty good. So I was looking, and I found an interesting episode that occurs in the Torah. What happened was, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, goes up the mountain. And in the mountain, he stays there for 40 days and 40 nights. And he doesn't eat and doesn't drink. And he communicates with Hashem. That's incredible. What happened to the rest of the people whilst Moshe was on the mountain? What were they doing for 40 days? They deteriorated on the 40th day. Where were they? For 40 days, they were in the camp doing their thing. So Moshe's on the mountain, and the rest of the people are in the camp. And he is receiving the Torah, communicating directly with the divine, with Hashem. Okay. What's interesting is that there was a group of people who actually accompanied Moshe as he went up the mountain. You know who the group was? There was Nadav and Avihu. These are the nephews of Moshe Rabbeinu, and the 70 elders. And the Torah tells us that they went up the mountain together with Moshe. And then there's this perplexing story, very difficult to understand. So the Torah tells us that they went up the mountain, right? Now think about it. Moshe goes up the mountain, and then he walks into the cloud. There's this pathway, Rashi says, that was created inside the cloud, and Moshe walks into the cloud, and he stays on the mountain. His body was there, and his soul went up, and he's not eating and drinking for 40 days and 40 nights, and he's living over there in that holy state of oneness with the divine. There was a group of people who was there with Moshe, but they didn't go into the actual cloud, Nadav, Avihu, and the 70 elders. And the Torah says that they saw Hashem, Vayiru es Elikei Yisrael. They saw God. So they're beholding, it's the description of what they see as they are beholding the sight of Hashem. I don't know what that means. But they saw God, and here's what they saw. Like very mystical words in the Torah itself. The Sachas Raglov, under Hashem's feet, was Kemasei Livnas Sapir, a shining sapphire brick. Uche'etzem hashomayim l'toyer, and like the essence of the heaven in its purity. And then it says, Ve'latzile b'nei Yisrael lo yisholach yodoi, to the nobles of Israel, he didn't send his hand. Vayechazu es Elokim, they beheld Hashem. Vayoichlu, vayishtu, they ate and they drank. Now, Rashi explains what happened was that these people saw the sight of Hashem. And as they saw the sight of Hashem, what happened? They were eating and drinking. And so Hashem wanted to send his hand at them. That means to put them to death. But he didn't want to destroy the moment, so he waited. And Nadav Avihu died later on. And the elders also. So later on they died, now they didn't die. That's what Rashi says. But I want to take you today on a little bit of a different journey. The way the Baal HaTanya explains these words. And these words are going to be able to explain to us the life of being the underdog. Because imagine what happens. These people, Nadav, Avihu, and the 70 elders, they're royalty. Nobody else goes up the mountain with Moshe. They get to go with Moshe himself. So they are the best of the best. They must be very holy people if they get to go together with Moshe. But for some reason, as they go, what happens? They were not able to go all the way in. So they're the top, the creme de la creme, and they're walking in onto Har Sinai, into that cloud, into the state of communion with Hashem, but they can't get in. And so they stay on the outside. How do they feel about staying on the outside? And what does it mean to be on the outside? In a certain sense, do you ever get the feeling that all of us are on the outside of a relationship with Hashem? You know, my daughter was telling me the other day, now that she's married and has a kid, she was like lamenting. Like, you know, I was learning before, I was doing holy things, I was in spiritual pursuits. She said, now, like, laundry takes 6 hours. It's insane. Now, maybe laundromat's a better idea, or maybe getting someone to help you. But the reality on the ground is that before, the laundry was magically done. It was like magic. Incredible. Sometimes. And now, it's like a whole day of laundry. It's like, Hashem, what's the point? And then what happens to the laundry afterwards? Goes like, the cycle is so quick, it goes back to the laundry, like before you know it. It's back in the same space it was before. Like, what's the point? And I was wondering about that. What is the point? Like, and then you go to wash dishes and take care of the baby. And that's when there's one baby. Wait till there's a whole bunch. And it's never ending. It's best to be a grandparent, by the way. Watch the kid. Bye-bye. I'm out. But when you got to take care of that kid, there's lots to do. And it's so cumbersome and never ends. It just goes on and on and on. And the question is, I love the baby. Cute little kid. But what's with all these things that have to be done around the baby? What a waste of a life. Sad and depressing, yes. Some people get to be Moshe Rabbeinus. Very few. One. Moshe Rabbeinu is awesome. He gets to go right up the mountain. And he doesn't eat and doesn't drink. And he didn't need to do laundry either. Okay, at that time, nobody needed to do laundry because they were all in the cloud. And so their clothes were just pressed and washed and always clean. And okay, food, they had the mon. But Moshe Rabbeinu didn't even eat that for 40 days and 40 nights. He just spoke to Hashem. I wish I could do that too. I mean, sometimes I want to indulge in Gashmias, but I wish that I didn't want to indulge. I wish I didn't have the desire and the craving all the time to indulge and involve myself in the physical world. Wouldn't that be cool and amazing? Wouldn't that be great? That's the underdog. The underdog is actually all of us. Having to live in a material physical world and do physical things, and it's so dull and boring. And what Hashem tells Nadav Avihu, the 70s Canaan, is the answer to us and how we can make our lives exciting, special, dynamic, worthwhile, and useful. Very special, actually. So here's what happens. The 70s Canaan and Nadav Avihu go up the mountain. And Hashem says, and the Pasuk says, the Torah says, what they saw was, they saw the God of Israel, and under his feet was the actions, kemasei, the handiwork of a sapphire brick. Now the word sapphire means to shine. Interesting how sapphire and sapphire is the same word. But the word sapphire means to shine. What does livnas mean? Anyone know Hebrew well?
Livnas?
Livnat. Leveina. Livnas, leveina is a brick. Indeed. A brick? A shining brick? What's the Torah telling us? They saw a shining brick, and bricks don't shine. So, when you want to build a building, a house, you need, I'm not talking about over here where we build out of junk. It's amazing how we do it. Basically cardboard, and then you just sell it for $1 million cardboard, you know. But real houses are made out of stone. There's another type of stone that you can make houses out of. Brick. Now, probably there's a difference between stone and brick. Isn't it like incredulous to go to Yerushalayim and you see the old city, the way they used to build in the olden days? It's like it blows the mind. First of all, the size of those rocks, like all over in the old city. When you go down in the tunnel tour and you see the size of those rocks, you're wondering, it's incredible how they did it. But those rocks are real rocks. Those rocks, the stone, are made by heaven. They are divine made items, correct? That's what Even is. Even is bidei shamayim. Hashem makes stones. When you build houses, most of the time today, people don't build out of stone. Even though it might have a great look, but practically, the rocks aren't going to be exactly symmetrical. How do you get symmetrical rocks? What do we call it? Bricks. You know how you make bricks? What? How do you make that? In Mitzrayim, in Egypt, what were the Jews doing? They were making bricks. I was wondering, how do you make bricks? So I looked it up on YouTube. They show you exactly how. I don't know what today, but they used to make bricks, certainly. But the Torah tells us how they make bricks. Remember? Who made bricks long before Egypt, actually? All the way at the beginning of the Torah. It's in Parshas Noach. There was this giant tower, the Tower of Babel. And what they did was, how do they make the Tower of Babylon? It wasn't an Eiffel Tower made out of metal. It was actually bricks. They said, Hava nilbena leveinim benisrafa lisreifa. So let's burn up bricks. The way you make bricks is like this. You take mud, you take the dirt, mud, mix it together. You put some straw in the mud, which holds it together, and then you bake it. If you live in a good Mediterranean heat, you can bake it in the sun. It's amazing. You go to these places in the Midwest over there by Nevada and Arizona. The heat it's incredible how people live like that. Like, we thought of here, we have problems. It's just like 120 degrees or even more. And there's no, it's just dry heat. You literally can take something there. You can wonder how you can take something and it sizzles in the sun in no time at all. Or we do it nowadays, you put it in an oven and you bake it. So when you burn bricks, when you heat them up hot, that's how you make bricks. You take the mud, hot mud becomes bricks, and it's very strong and very durable when you can build houses out of that. On the positive side, in our lives, there's two types of relationships we have with Hashem and the world. One is stone, and the other one is brick. Stone is the thing that Hashem makes. Bricks are the things that we make. And our job is to create bricks out of this world. What Hashem wants from each and every one of us is to build for him a home in this world. It's called a dira betachtonim. Dira is a home. How do you build a home? Ve'asuli mikdash v'shochanti b'soycham is to make a base of mikdash. In order to make it, you need bricks. And the bricks are every little thing you do. All the stuff which your life is made of, those are the building blocks of connecting you to Hashem. Every single day is another exciting experience and opportunity which you have in your life. Every relationship you have with other people, with situations, everything is a building block in your life. Think about it this way. You are building home for Hashem in this world through the experiences of your life. Those are the building blocks of your life. Some building blocks Hashem makes. For example, if you open up a Chumash and you read the Chumash, that's a building block designed by Hashem. How do I know? Because you're not allowed to touch it. You have to just read the words and see what it says. When you do a mitzvah, when you keep Shabbos, that's a rock. It's designed by Hashem. Hashem said to keep Shabbos. Hashem said to light Shabbat candles. So you lighting the candles and you ushering in Shabbos. That's what Hashem said. But most of life happens in the other type of terrain. Where does most of life happen? It's just in simple things that you do. Your thoughts, your experiences, your life. Most of life is just you living your experiences. And what you're doing is making building blocks. You're building and you're creating experiences. It's actually an exciting thing to do. When you realize you're not just living life, you are creating infrastructure, creating a whole building, a place where Hashem can dwell. That's the experience of your life. But here's the thing. The only way to make bricks is if you heat them up on the fire and you burn them. You need to be on fire in your life. If you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh man, another day. I was talking to my sister in Cape Town, wishing her a happy birthday because today's her birthday. So we were just like, we were on WhatsApp video. She lives in Cape Town. And she was with a background. And I was with a background. My background was that I was walking in the street, a bunch of cars stuck in the snow with snow piled up. And the snow, by the way, is gorgeous. It's white, but it's not white for too long. You don't see black snow. It's
yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just doesn't have the same experience. And she's showing me this glorious Table Mountain behind her. She literally opens the window of the house and there's Table Mountain. You know Table Mountain? Cape Town's built around this gorgeous mountain. She go visit. That's the city I was born in and lived in for the first 3 weeks of my life. So it's a gorgeous, gorgeous place. And you look around like by the ocean, it's just magnificent to live there. It's just exciting. What happens when you wake up in a New York morning and it's just depressing? What you need is you gotta light it up. Everyone's in Florida now, so that's good. Yeah, well, but you gotta light up and find excitement in the moment. How do we burn the bricks? Cook the bricks. How do we get life in a dull, dreary moment to be an exciting experience? But if we could make our life, every moment of it, to just feel like, wow, spectacular. What would happen then? Wouldn't it feel different? What?
We'd be happier. Book a vacation, something to look forward to.
What?
Book a vacation, something to look forward to.
Right. So we live our life on the next vacation. And then we have to shorten the time to the next vacation so that we can have some excitement going on. Or what about the daily grind? Not just the daily grind, the moment. How about the excitement of the moment? Every single moment, every single step of the way. You know where the excitement comes from? Think about this. It's a reflection. It's a meditation. Meditation is this. Hashem, who is unlimited, tells us that he has one problem. One thing bothering him. He wants to be experienced in the physical world, in a place which doesn't know him. He wants to be known. And he needs people who are going to live in this physical world and make him known in this physical world. And through that, the whole physical world is going to be transformed completely. It's going to become a whole new space. And that's what Hashem wants to do. You know how Hashem does that? He does that through us. They tell a story about the Rebbe Maharash, who he was a person who lived, you'd expect a Rebbe to be living in poverty, to have nothing. He was just a Rebbe who had everything. He lived in absolute, exquisite wealth all the time. He had a golden chariot. His clothing were gold, like the finest clothing you could ever buy. And he would walk around. Everything was grandeur and pomp and beauty. Every morning, the Rebbe Maharash would disappear. He would take his wagon, and with his wagon driver, who was not Jewish, they would go out into the forest, but he would come back an hour later. And nobody was allowed to come with him. And heaven help anybody who was trying to follow him. So it was a forbidden moment to be part of. And he would go into the forest for an hour in his golden chariot and come back. And everybody wanted to know, all the Hasidim want to know, what's the Rebbe doing at that moment? So what do? They bribe the wagon driver. What's the best way to bribe a Russian wagon driver in those days? Vodka. There you go. See, the Russians understand. So they gave the guy some good mashke, some good vodka to drink. And the guy drinks, and finally he says, I'm not, what does the Rebbe do at that time? He says, I'm not allowed to tell you, I'm sworn to secrecy. Yeah, but nichnas yain yatsa sod, when the wine enters, the secrets come out. So finally, he reveals. He says, your Rebbe is a strange man. Strange man that he is. Because, he's so rich. Everything about him is grandeur. And every day, he comes into the forest. And I don't know why. I look at him, I see a successful man. He has money. He has a spouse. He has children. He has a great enterprise. All his Hasidim, he's so successful. And every day he goes out into the forest and he sits down on a rock deep in the forest and he cries. And I always wonder, why is he crying? What's the cry for? And I watch him and he's crying and crying and crying and crying. And as he cries, all the ants and these little creepy crawly things, they come like armies out till they see him crying. And they jump all over his body. And I watch them, they bite him and they hurt him. And I see him in such pain. And he stays there for a whole long time. And he's crying and crying and crying. And as soon as he finishes, as soon as he's done, all these little ants jump off. And he steps back into the carriage, back into his grand clothing, and he comes back. And I don't know what he's crying for. I don't get it. I don't understand. That wagon driver, when the Rebbe found out that he had revealed the secret, was summarily fired from his position. Yeah, you told the secret. Took a lot of work, but they got him to be reinstated in his position. What's with the crying? If you have all the material in the world, everything in the world, it's amazing. But the material world, in order to be relevant and real and shouldn't just bring you down and make you depressed, needs to be on fire. And that fire is the fire of a crying soul, of someone who's yearning for something higher. You see, we live in this world, and the world just looks to us like the be-all and end-all of everything. The truth is, every one of us is on a mission of a soul that was sent from a very lofty place down here into a physical world. And we really are holy neshamas, holy souls. We may not always connect to that idea. It may look like life is just life. But your soul, deep inside, gets it. And your soul's crying, Hashem, I want to be connected. I want to be a part of you. I want to be there. And Hashem says, yes, Bubale. But your mission is to go down there and to find and bring Hashem to a place where he never was before. Every single step of your life, every single moment, every single thing you do is an experience of a soul. You are representing Hashem and you're drawing Hashem to a place where he never was before. You don't do laundry. You bring Hashem into the laundry. And what does that mean? You know what I mean? We left for Shabbos a few weeks ago, and we came back, and the kids were there, and we discovered an interesting phenomenon that kids, there's one little baby, and she's in diapers. Kids don't change diapers. What?
Mine sounds too.
No, not a 2-year-old. I'm talking about, teenagers who are really good and responsible, but diapers is just disgusting. I'm not changing a diaper. But when we left the married daughter, she had no problem to change our kid's diaper. You know what the difference is when you become a parent and you're changing diapers? A mother doesn't change her kid's diaper. It's disgusting. Ugh. You don't even notice you're changing a diaper. I'm not changing the diaper, silly. I'm making you feel good. I'm making my baby happy. Whatever it takes. It's all about how you communicate it, how you market it. When you're a teenager and you have to change your baby sister's diaper, all you see is absolute, you know what. But when you're a mommy, what do you see?
You see it too.
But you don't notice it.
You see an uncomfortable child.
You see an uncomfortable child. You see, I'm your mommy and I'm going to help you. And I'm feeling good because I'm able to raise you. It actually feels great to change a baby's diaper. Hopefully. I'm making you feel good. So it's not about the diaper, it's about the raising of a child. Nor is it about the laundry. It's about creating a home and creating an atmosphere. I'm not doing laundry. I'm creating a space for Hashem in this world. Ditto for everything you do in your entire life. But in order for this to work, you want to be on fire. So every day we Jews daven, and it's super critical to daven to get your connection, get your fix. Close your eyes. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Hashem is one. And Hashem, I wish I could just be with you. If you feel that yearning for Hashem, I wish I could be with you, you're burning up all the physicality. It's the same as the mommy who feels the love, the passion for her child, and so she doesn't notice the dirt on the way. All she notices is the passion and the love of the child. And kids love their mommy because she makes them feel good. So changing diapers is actually the greatest act of love. So is laundry. So is anything else in the world that you do. If you look at it as, oh my gosh, what a dreary day, and I got to walk around today in the snow and do what I'm doing. But if you start looking at yourself and seeing, I am representative of Hashem. Beam me up, Hashem. Feel the power of Hashem in your life. It's like an embrace of Hashem telling you, wow, you're special just because you're alive. Bricks are hard and fast. You can actually build a building out of them the same as stone. They're not made by heaven. They're made by you. Bricks are made when it's your life, the dirt of your life, the mud, the dirty stuff, on fire. Because if you bring that combination together, you're on fire. And sometimes when we have all the physicality in the world, all the gold, and we have everything, sometimes that becomes the problem. It's not only when you don't have and you lack, it's when you have everything. Okay, I'm on vacation, I have everything I need, and I'm excited, and it's fun, and what's the point? To live to go to the next one vacation, and the next thing, and the next, and then what? And sometimes you got to go out to the ants. No, we don't do that actually today, but when you're a holy rebbe, you do that actually. You go to the ants, let them bite you, you feel, you cry, your neshama cries. It's good to cry sometimes in a sense of yearning for Hashem, not to cry, I'm a sinner. That's not the point. The point is to daven to Hashem and say, Hashem, really, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be changing diapers and doing laundry and doing all these menial things I'm doing. And I don't want to be in the physical world. I want to just be with you. That's what davening is. It's lighting up the fire and the passion of connection that we have to Hashem. And when you light up that fire, the dreary stuff becomes bricks. So Nadav and Avihu come up the mountain. What do they see? It's not fair, Hashem. How come Moshe gets to see and we don't? And Hashem says, you know what you saw? You saw Hashem. Vayiru Elokei Yisrael, v'sachas raglav, under Hashem's feet. What do they see? K'ma'asei livnas sapir. They saw a brick, not a brick, a sapir brick, a shining brick. Because they were yearning for Hashem, they saw Hashem, they realized my life is a solid life when I burn it up and I get excited about what I have. Wow. It's like the essence of the heavens in all its purity. And the Torah tells us that Hashem, what that means is, to the nobles of Israel, to all these Jews, not Moshe, Hashem says, I'm not sending you my hand. You see the head and the hands on the same level? So Kabbalistically, that means the feelings, the emotions, I'm not giving you. You won't have access to Hashem direct like Moshe. Because if you do, the challenge disappears. You can't make bricks if you have all the stones on the first day. Hashem says, your life of not seeing Hashem is the best. You're not an underdog. You're just bringing Hashem to a lower place. You know when you're an underdog? If Hashem is up, if the goal is to be there and I'm over here and you're over there, then I'm an underdog. But if we start at the bottom, then I'm actually ahead. If Hashem wants the physical world to become a holy place, then those of us who are more physical are doing the greatest thing ever. And so the Torah says, Vayechezu et ha'elokim. They saw God. Vayechezu is the same as Vayiru. But Vayiru is in the Holy Tongue, in Hebrew. And Vayechezu is Aramaic. We live our lives in a foreign tongue. We speak English or Russian or whatever we speak. We become part of the culture that we're in. And we see Hashem through the prism of another barrier. That's how we see God. We don't see Hashem for what he is. We live our lives. But when we realize that every step of our lives is absolute and holy, vayochlu vayishtu, even the eating and the drinking, everything you do, everything you partake of in the world becomes holy. So I was thinking what to tell the kid. I'm jealous. Why are these guys getting it better than I do? It's not fair. Why are they understanding it better than me? So what is the answer? Before we think how to tell it to him. What's the answer? The problem begins if I'm in a class and the goal is to understand first, to be the top of the class. The goal is to be successful. And you're more successful than me. So I'm unhappy. Problem. Now I feel envious and jealous of you. But how about if I realize, if I start thinking from Hashem's perspective, what does Hashem want? It's not about me understanding it and you understanding it. Hashem wants this piece of Torah to enter into this brain, also your brain. That's true. But I can't bring it into your brain. I can bring it into my brain. And I know that Hashem wants this brain to understand. Imagine that. Hashem has never before been, when you're learning this piece of Torah right now, we're learning a bit of Torah now. Do you realize what happens if you understand it? Hashem has now been to a space where he's never been to before. Where is that? Your head today. And your heart today. And if I start looking at it, not from my perspective, from Hashem's perspective, I'm like, wow, I'm doing something amazing. I'm bringing Hashem into my head. I don't know why my head takes longer to grasp than all my friends' heads. But I do know that I can't bring it into their heads and I could bring it into mine. And I realize also that because it takes longer, it penetrates deeper. So what's the answer? All my friends are getting it quicker and I'm not. What's the answer? How do we say it to the child? I'll leave that to you. But what's the answer?
Well, I mean, you could look at it in a few different ways, but what I would probably say is that you could look at life as like, oh, well, you have this beautiful tree, this beautiful plant, oh, it looks so great. But if you only realize that underneath all that there's dirt, and then there's a seed.
Exactly.
You are
You're the seed. Beautiful.
We're the seeds. So
Beautiful.
sometimes it looks like it's upside
Very good.
down. You're like, what is happening?
So basically, what you're saying is like this: I don't have the answer as to why they might be smarter than me, why you were given this type of head. But I'll tell you this much: it's the most exciting thing in the world. You are able to bring Hashem's message into your head, and every moment that you learn, Hashem is entering you, and it only becomes a problem if you're not on fire. But if you feel every moment you wake up and you say, wow, every morning you daven, get to feel what it means to be able to bring Hashem into this world and feel that Hashem is excited about you. He can't think of anything better than you coming down. If you feel that excitement, that energy, it'll override everything. So you may not have the answer. Why do they have it and I don't? But if you're excited and you're feeling the privilege, how incredible it is that you get to bring Hashem down into your life today, you get to feel Hashem today, you're going to make bricks. And you're going to understand it so well. You're going to be incredible. So will they. Yeah. But you'll be the most incredible person ever. Because you don't need to compete with them. You're making your own thing. So it isn't about answering the question so much. It's rather about the realization. You know when you feel that jealousy, that tinge of envy, and it feels like negative? So what does it feel like when you feel that envy? Let's change that feeling and that experience. That envy can be transformed into an excitement.
Switching gears.
The only problem is I'm sitting over here, I'm trying to learn, and my brain is just dumb. And I'm frustrated. Why can't I learn? That frustration and envy. Feel Hashem. Hashem says, I want to be inside you. And the frustration and envy is your soul calling out, like the Rebbe Maharash with the ants on him. Those are the ants biting you. The frustration and the envy, all these little thingy-majigs that are biting you. And instead of letting them bite you, say, you know what they're telling me? They're telling me, go, jump ahead, spur yourself on. Here's how you go. You feel the feeling. I feel frustrated and envious. The reason I feel is because I think my story is that I'm supposed to be smart and the other kids are smarter than me and it's not fair. But then you feel like Hashem loves me anyway. And he gives me a big hug and he says, but I want you to understand and only you can get your head and I want you to get it. Then you're like, wow, Hashem wants me to understand. Hashem himself. Okay, that's exciting. And suddenly what was before frustration will be transformed into an excitement as you feel the embrace of Hashem. And you'll be creating a livna sasapir, a sapphire brick, an exciting brick that's on fire. Every step of what you do will suddenly become not a frustration, but an excitement. What is it about? Feeling how glorious it is to be who I am. Then all the negative feelings are transformed in a flash. Not in a flash, in an ignited, excited, powerful fire that you just created through realizing who you are and what Hashem wants of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.